So, I've done these kind of little update streams several times before, but I've never uploaded them to YouTube. The reason why is because I've sort of assumed no one cares. So, I'm putting this question right at the beginning of the VOD. Do you care? Like, do you want me to upload these little updates? It's up to you guys. I don't really have a horse in this race. I just, you know... Give me some feedback on the YouTube comments, would you? No, not you, Yura. You don't count. I'm joking. But my point is, this is specifically for the people who watch the VODs, right? So, for the VOD people, do you care? No judgment, I'm just curious. Got a little blood drawn today. Let's see. I'm kind of wiped, if I'm being honest with you. No, it doesn't hurt. It's just, they just drew blood. They took a giant knife, right? Because it's Dragon Age, and they were just like... And blood just went everywhere. The, just blood everywhere. Oh, by the way, Evo, I just want to draw your attention to something really quick right here. Anyways, so... Ooh. So you might be able to tell I'm in a bit of pain right now. This morning, 12 vials. Didn't do that many with me. I was like, you know what? This persistent pain I'm having is not going away. Now, since Monday morning specifically, I have had a persistent aching pain in my lower right abdomen. Those of you medically inclined will probably immediately react to that. Those of you not, well, that's what I'm here for. Because that can be a lot of things. There's like, God, 5 or 6 things. It could be just like obvious stuff, right? But it could also be appendicitis. And here's the thing. Appendicitis has a very high chance of being fatal if you don't take care of it. So, I gave it a few days, you know, let it see if the pain would fade. And I suppose, in the interest of total honesty, the pain did fade, but it never went away. And I'm like, okay. Alright. So this morning, I finally bit the bullet and said, screw it. I'm going to be late to stream. Didn't realize how late at first. Went out, headed out to the urgent care, because that's how that works here in the States. For those of you not aware, if you don't have a PCP, then you have to go to, like, an urgent care place to get some initial tests done and probably a referral to actually go to talk to someone real. Oh yeah, no, exactly, Mike Tomano. If it was really appendicitis, it would probably grow. I was pretty sure it wasn't appendicitis. In fact, I was about 95% certain. The thing is, appendicitis is fatal. So, because if those of you not aware how this works, appendicitis does not get better on its own. It just sits there, getting worse and worse and worse and worse until the pain becomes completely unbearable. And then your appendix bursts, which will then cause an abscess, which I am pronouncing wrong, which then gets infected, which is very likely to be fatal, like a very high fatality chance. No, it's quite unpleasant. It is, of course, still survivable, but it's also worth noting that if it is your appendix getting inflamed, and if you do let it burst, fixing it becomes not only a lot more difficult, but a lot more expensive. It's actually 2 separate surgeries at that point. So it's like, okay. So like I said, this morning I'm like, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to go. I go in. Talk to the nice lady there. She's like, hey. Yeah, that is true, Emperor Valerian. There's actually several jobs that require you to be like, hey, have you had your appendix taken out? Some jobs require you to get your appendix taken out if you haven't had it taken out yet. Real quick. Thank you, Dark Prince Revan. Always. I'll put it towards absolutely nothing. I don't understand the question, Mike Tomano. Removing the appendix removes the threat of appendicitis. And for some companies, it's worth dropping the 10 grand on that just to get rid of it so that you can then do your job. Now, this is only certain types of jobs, but this is a real thing. I should know. Medical industry. It's not like the appendix is particularly useful for anything. So anyways. So, also true, Bregman. Very true. Hence the Antarctica reference earlier. Or if you're going to a particular outpost, usually military, it's a common thing too. Anyways, I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to talk right now. So, I go to the urgent care place. It's a nice place. The woman there is very helpful. Very, very, very friendly. In fact, she's so helpful that she looks at my symptoms, looks at my charts, and then says, "You need to go somewhere else." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "We don't have the equipment or tools on hand to do anything other than charge you money for nothing. So they don't charge me for anything, cancel my appointment, and give me a referral to someplace where I can go actually get checked out." Nice woman. Now, the referral place, unfortunately, doesn't have access to much. It's not a full ER, which is good, because the last thing I want to do is go... If I walk into a full ER, we got problems. Especially for something that I'm really certain is not actually appendicitis. So instead, she gives me a referral to a imaging processing center, which also happens to have an urgent care facility in there. So I go there. I'm like, hey. And then I wait for, oh god, I don't know, hours. I could probably figure out how long I spent waiting. They were quite busy, as most medical places tend to be nowadays, regardless of country. So I sit there. A few people are keeping me entertained during the visit, which is very good because I go completely insane. I know this is going to sound like a strange thing to bring up now. I can't entertain myself on my phone. No, I'm serious. If I have a long period of time to pass, my phone does not help with that process. I don't like mobile games. I don't really enjoy just sitting and watching YouTube idly. And so all I can really do is chat on, like, Discord, for example. Now, thankfully, I had some people to chat on Discord, but it's just, it doesn't work for me. So, that was fun. Anyway, so I sit and I wait 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 and I wait. Finally, they pull me back, do a couple run-throughs, and they're like, "That sounds weird. That doesn't sound like appendicitis." And I'm like, "Yeah, it doesn't, does it?" And the nurse is like, "You know what? I sympathize. Let's get you in. Let's get you processed." They give me a 70% discount for the check because they're pretty sure it's a check for nothing. Take me back, and they're like, "Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and get a sound thing." I suddenly can't think of the name of it. Blood test, urine test, and a sound thing. I cannot think of what it's freaking called. Ultrasound, thank you. Now, this is funny. I'll explain why in a moment. So, they come, they draw the blood. That's what this is. Urine test, no problems. No issues on either front. That's cool. Then they go back and they say, "All right, let's schedule your x-ray." I'm like, okay. So I just kind of go along with this. Just trusting these people. So I go over, very nice woman. They get me for an x-ray like that. Like 5 minutes, and I'm ready for my x-rays. Which is good, because usually there's a much larger wait for that, like in the 2-hour range. But they happen to have the x-ray machine there and on hand ready to go. So I go, take a couple of quick x-rays. They also charge me almost nothing for the x-rays. Also good. Nice people. So, you know, x-ray goes through. They send me back to the room, and I wait a final, like, half hour. Which is just, I hate to continue aggravating about this, but this is really frustrating, just sitting there in a room, in an uncomfortable chair, waiting for half an hour with nothing to do but chat on Discord. Anyways. Thank God I had people to chat with. So then the doctor comes back, and she's like, "Okay, so you definitely don't have appendicitis." And I'm like, "Oh, thank God." She actually was going to get the sonogram or whatever it was. I already forgot what it's called. Ultrasound, thank you. The thing is, the machine actually wasn't in the building that day. And so they were going to have to push it out, right? Push it out to another day. And she's like, no. We need to do something. So she ordered the x-rays. That's why they were super discounted. Because it's not really what was required. But even the x-rays showed I'm just clogged. That's it. She gave me a prescription for some medical grade oh god, laxative, and said, you're good, right? Cool. Everything's fine. Spent a couple $100 to verify that I'm not dying. You're probably wondering why my tone isn't a little bit more optimistic. Here's where things get funny. So, she did a X-ray, not an ultrasound, which I keep bringing up because an ultrasound wouldn't have revealed this. I have a kidney stone in my left kidney, which is not where my pain is. It's about this big. I don't feel it. I know exactly what kidney stone pain feels like. I am extraordinarily personally familiar with kidney stone pain. Yeah, same kidney, by the way. Caspian. And she... Are you okay? Yeah. You have any pain on your left side? No. Are you familiar with kidney stones? Yes. And I explained to her, you know, the nature of what I went through about 11 years ago at this point. And she was like, yeah. So I'm going to show you the x-ray. She shows me the x-ray, and I'm like, oh my god, really? I've seen this before. So she gives me a referral to a urologist in the area, which I am going to be having a... yeah, it's been 11 years since that surgery. Now, here's the thing. It is just the one, first of all. Last time, I was suffering from a combination of circumstances, like a lot of different stuff, all at the same time. That was the problem, right? I was being hit by wave after wave after wave of medical crap, and on top of it all, my kidneys just weren't dealing with any of it, because I had a giant kidney stone and 30 other visible kidney stones in my kidney. My kidney was getting shredded, and that was another, you know, risk of life kind of a situation. This, and the doctor told me very, very honestly, she's like, look, I'm going to level with you. This is not a threat of life kind of a situation. Like, if this thing ends up getting broken down and it's going through you, it's going to hurt like hell. But in the state it's in, it's not going to be life-threatening. You should probably have it checked out and probably figure out what your options are early, because it's large enough that they might have to do invasive surgery to get rid of it. Now here's reality land. I don't have that kind of money. This is not e-begging. That's a statement of fact. I just dumped a ton of money building out the basement here. Now, so what's going to happen going forwards is I'm going to go ahead and go to that appointment, which is next Wednesday. So there's going to be another missing shift next Wednesday. And I'm going to go ahead and be like, hey, get me checked out, figure out what my options are, blah, 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 blah. If they recommend invasive surgery, I'm going to say, okay. And then I'm going to sit on that until I can slowly build up some freaking money to be able to pay for that surgery, which is probably going to take somewhere around the 9-month range. Then I'll go ahead and get it dealt with. That's it's kind of the option right now. And by the way, welcome to the 1-year club, Dark Prince Revan. I'll put that anniversary sub towards Dragon's Dogma 1, Ratchet and Clank HD, Batman animated, well, Streamations. Invasive surgery is, I'd honestly say, about a 50-50 chance right now. See, the thing is, if you've heard of people going in to get kidney stones dealt with, you've probably heard of people going in to get kidney stones dealt with. The specific factor that changes what type of surgery, or surgery's not even the right word, procedure that they do, is the size of the stone. The size of the stone by itself is the thing that's most likely going to lead to requiring invasive surgery. Now, that sucks in its own right. The real problem will be the hospital stay, because that's going to be inpatient. And that's going to suck. So, that's the up-to-date. That's why I didn't stream today. I do feel bad about that. I am not super happy about losing yet another day to all this crap. No, the pain has nothing to do with the stone. We did several pain tests and several pressure tests, whole bunch of stuff. Kidney stone is completely unrelated to anything. I'm not going to bring up the American health system because people just go, every time I do that. But I will say this, and that's all I'm going to say. People probably shouldn't have to sit there and think, should I get medical care? Because they're not sure if they can afford it. In fact, I got a story for you. Check this out. Once upon a time, I got run over by a vehicle. Hit and then run over by a vehicle. Y'all know that. That's my leg. That was cool. So that sucked. And in order to deal with that, the first suggestion was, of course, to get an ambulance to the hospital. To this very day, I am actually really happy about the fact that I didn't get an ambulance for that. Because ambulances are expensive. But I bring this up because that was the situation I was in. I had to repeatedly, while in severe and intense pain, reiterate, no, don't get an ambulance, don't get an ambulance. I cannot afford it. And I couldn't. We had to jury-rig something to get me into the car in order to get me... I've told that story. Yeah. I mean, even today, Scales of Justice, I debated not going in to get everything checked. Because... it might not kill me. To be very clear, I don't have the money for an appendectomy. If it was appendicitis, I do not have the ability to deal with that financially. And I have nothing to draw on. That's it. That's the end of that sentence. So I very sincerely considered just putting up with it and living with it. And just walking away from it. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, by the way, just to put some dollar numbers out there. So, on average, a surgery around here for something like an appendectomy, would cost about 12 grand. Now, that's a decent chunk of change. But it's not the end of the story, because for anybody who's ever dealt with the medical system here in the States, you know that the most expensive thing is actually the hospital stay. And that's an inpatient surgery, because it's invasive surgery, which means you have to stay in the hospital, which increases that price onerously. An emergency burst appendix would be roughly double that, Mike Romano. I apologize. I know I'm not very charismatic right now. I have no energy. I've been sitting in medical places for probably about 3 or 4 hours, something like that, total today. And just freaking out quietly in the back of my mind, thinking that I have to decide if I'm going to go ahead and accept dying or not. And I know that sounds so strange. It's like, oh, he's just being exaggerative. But no, that's what was going through my head when you... It's not the first time. It's not the first time I faced death. In fact, I'm pretty familiar with it at this point in my life. So, when you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, so, should I do this or not? You know, is it worth it? Blah, blah, blah. Is this something that's going to kill me? How can I deal with this, right? I've actually talked about this before. I get into a bit of crisis mode. I was thinking about what I could do to sell the car. And deal with a couple of things like that in order to try and scare up some emergency money. And just kind of have something. Because for those of you not aware how this works, the hospital bill is something that usually they'll work with you on. So even though that's an onerous amount of money, at least you don't have to have that up front. But for a cash pay surgery, what they do is they chop the price down in half, which is the $12K I just quoted you, by the way. But the cost of that is you have to pay it up front. Like when I got this done, I had to pay the full $7,000 for that the day I was there. I had to walk up and say, hey, boom. And yeah, as someone points out in chat, there's always other stuff too, right? there's all kinds of little bills that get attached to the big ones. So, it's a whole thing. Again, I'm not trying to be political in any direction. This is just fact. This is just how it is. This is just reality. Okay. But the good news is I am not dying. The good news is I am not dying, which I know exactly how much it costs to have a baby because I have a sister who has several nieces. Briefly summarize, I'm not dying. I thought I was going to. I am not. It's not a joke. I don't have it in me to joke right now. I was staring at something that could very realistically have caused me death, and I was staring at the possibility if I'm going to just kind of live with that. It's not. Woo. But I spent pretty much the entire day verifying that it was not that thing. That's it. Also found another issue. Not sure what I'm going to do about that one yet. We'll see. Yeah, you could... You can always tell I'm not joking when my tone's down here. The best part was they didn't get around to drawing blood until about like 1:30 or something like that, which is right in the middle of my lunchtime, which obviously I didn't have because I was just staying there at the hospital. So that was cool. You ever have blood drawn while you're already hungry? Anyways, so what impact is it going to have on the stream? Nothing. Although the Dragon Age curse continues, by the way. The Dragon Age curse continues. I start streaming Dragon Age 2. Don't even make it a full shift. I get hit by a wave of fatigue. I actually did go lay down immediately. I just clonked out. And then I don't even stream today because I just... Oh, God. So, okay. Impact on the stream. For people like Blade Terval, who doesn't give a damn about me as a human being, but does care about me as a streamer. So, hopefully no impact on the stream. Obviously, there will be no stream next Wednesday, because that's my urologist appointment. But the biggest impact on the stream, and this is legitimately important, is I need you guys to really remind me to be drinking water. I'm going to make a substantial effort to make sure I always have water on hand here. I also have emergency water, which is over there. And I need you guys to start using the take a drink emote, assuming I have one. Yeah, I might actually... The water bot never worked. That's why I got rid of him. The water bot didn't work. I need something that I can... Oh, it is there. Hey, wash. There, we'll use the wash emote. That works. I need to be reminded to hydrate. And the problem is, if you just... The reason the water bot didn't work is because if you just have a regular recurring thing, that doesn't work for me. As weird as that may sound. Because it'll pop up in the middle of something. Like I'm in the middle of a fight, or I'm in the middle of a discussion, or I'm in the middle of chatting something with something. And so I'm like, well, hang on, let me finish what I'm doing. Do. And by the time I've finished, I've moved past the point where I remember that I'm supposed to take a drink. I need to be able to, like, hang on. Breaking news. Water. I mean, we do have the wash emote, and we never use it, so I'm cool with people using. I see that in chat. I'll be like, oh, yeah, take a drink, because that's a good visual reminder. It's very distinct. It's nice and blue and obvious. Hey, Zahar. I'm not dying. That's the important part. I'm pretty sure I did lose weight over the last week, yes, Evo. Which is funny, because I'm actually bloated right now. But that's because I am actually bloated. I am constipated. This is the TMI stream, by the way. That's a good idea, flip the coin. I'll try to do something like that. Listen, Polka Sweater. Like, crap comes out of the body. What do you want from me? It comes out of the body, and it comes out of Ubisoft. Okay, there's the two facts of reality. World. Oh, okay. I wasn't e-begging, Valerian. I swear. I mean, you know me, Colgrim, or maybe you don't, but I've always been pretty transparent with regards to the show. Like, I like to be as professional as I can, but this is gonna sound strange. I am one of those people who is not Japanese. I know, it's shocking. There's literally dozens of us. Dozens of us. Nani? I'm obviously kind of joking, but my point here is that there is a weirdly dominant trend, this is not just exclusive to Japan, where people think that professional means you should never share anything personal. Everyone remembers that incident earlier this year with the streamer who jumped down a viewer's face for sharing some tragedy that was going on in her life, right? You remember that? That's true, though. Like, in the office, there's like a protocol. You're not supposed to share whatever horrible stuff's going on in your life. You're not supposed to be, you know, you can talk about the weather, you know, you can talk about sports, right? You know, you can do whatever that. You can do, you can talk about, you know, video games, whatever. But you can't talk about anything real. I've never agreed with that. Don't mistake me. If you tell me to not tell you, I'll respect that on an individual basis. But I don't think there should be a standardization of, you know, leave that crap at home. Which brings me to how I operate in general, as a boss and as a worker and as a streamer. I'm like, hey, so that's what just happened to me today. FYI, right? That's just me. That's how I am. It didn't even occur to me not to tell you guys. Now see, if Meadfist comes to me and says, Lore, shut the crap up, you're dumb and you're stupid and I hate you, then I'll say, okay, no problem, and I'll walk away from that. But I'm not going to just assume as an automatic policy that you guys don't want to hear about my real life. If you don't, well, Alt F4. Now, having said that, there is such a thing as too far the other way. Because holy crap, there's such a thing as too far the other way. I sometimes wonder if that's where that attitude comes from, you know? I'm not dying, Fab Alex. There's the super summary. Super summary. Drink every time someone donates. Every time someone asks what's going on, take it. I mean, we gotta have those drinking games. Seriously, Dark Prince Revan. What? How dare you be a human being? Get out of here. Get out of here. That's how I stay hydrated. And we just game the system. Hang on, I'm sorry. Thank you. This is actually kind of difficult to bow right now, so I'm going to tilt my entire body forwards. Thank you very much, Valerian. I will go ahead and jot that down for... Guys, what's the name of the upcoming FF14 expansion? I need to write down the correct name, so I don't... And I don't know it. Dawn Trail, okay. Okay, thank you. To be clear, I should probably clarify my statement, because it sounds like I'm all about, you know, treating coworkers as friends, which that's not quite what I mean. What I mean by that is I disagree with the automatic assumption that it's a no-no. If that makes any sense. You know, you should just be a worker drone. And I disagree with that mentality. That's all it is. I don't have a better way to phrase that. I don't like being hello fellow worker drone, you know. I never have. We're still people. Being professional means doing your job, doing it properly, and doing it on time. It does not mean being a robot. Sorry, just... I was thinking about that today because you get a lot of that in the medical industry, too. there's no such thing as TMI in the medical industry. Because there's no such thing as shame, right? Like, stuff that you would be embarrassed to admit or showcase to people, all that goes out the window when someone is scanning you for medical defects, right? That's how it is. But mostly in my experience, both from personal and from secondhand experience, medical people tend to actually be quite personable, by and large, except for the dicks. That's different. So, medical people tend to be personal, at least in part because of the fact that it's a good defense against all the crap they deal with every day. I've been told, in fact, I was told this today, that a lot of, I've been told before that people really like how I am amiable and helpful and assistant when it comes to going in and dealing with medical crap. And of course I am, right? I know they're putting up with some garbage. I don't need to add to that. It's apparently not super common, given how often I get comments about that. Oh, doctors are dicks. Doctors are dicks. Screw doctors, am I right? Just screw them. I have known, this is not a joke, I have known more decent lawyers than I have known decent doctors in my life. I'm not saying it's zero. I'm reminded of the guy who thought I was addicted to opioids and refused to believe I was in pain, so refused to give me a script for anything to do with the pain. Now you might be thinking, well, how would he know? Well, first of all, he could use his goddamn brain, because I was literally 1 week out of surgery for my leg for that incident. I know, it's weird, Meat Fist. I'm addicted to, Whoop. I'm addicted to cupcakes. I mean, that's true, Polka Sweater. Again, I don't want to generalize. I have met several decent doctors. It's just, doctors are dicks. Anyways, I'm getting way off topic, and I gotta go start dinner. The goal here will be to stream Dragon Age 2 tomorrow, but based on the current track record, I'm guessing that a meteor is going to collide with my house tomorrow. So, if I don't stream tomorrow, just assume it's a meteor, okay? See you guys.